just under the arm, and that did hurt.
Ouch.
They have a nice bruise there in the morning. He doesn't seem to be wearing a chest pad.
No, I don't think he is, and I think he wishes he was now.
Yeah, probably. That one's straighter, but he gets right behind that, defends it. I'm feeling a bit more confident about Stokes now, I have to say. He seems to definitely have settled down.
That's the kiss of death if ever there was one.
Of course it is. 109 for 4, England.
Don't say things like that.
There is a great 30-second video on the BBC website where Vaughan says just how well he believes Ollie Pope is playing, and then he gets bowled. It's his first reaction afterwards is, I think I'll just shut up. To which
everyone says, yeah! As that one is guided behind square on the offside by Stokes. He'll get himself a single and retain the strike. As that ends the 39th over. 110 for 4. England go out.
Warren says that because of the whole thing we were talking about the kids, I envisage a whole load of Angus Young lookalikes heading to the stadium. O'Neill Harris Nations League is being played now because the footy season starts again next month due to the World Cup being in November. Simar in the USA, they say misery loves company. So perhaps you would like to know that by the time I could load a stream, the USA were 8 for 2 or 15 balls in their ODI versus the UAE yesterday.
Oh well.
8 for 2. We'd pay good money for 8 for 2, wouldn't we?
Normally, yeah.
But just England.
When's the first game of the Premier League then? That means it's on before the end of July.
No, Community Shield, 30th of July. First game of the season, I think, so week the 6th of August.
Yeah.
14 game weeks and then stop for a month.
Okay. Presumably the Charity Shield or whatever it is now is Liverpool and City again, isn't it?
Yep, and that will take place at the King Power Stadium on the 30th of July.
Yeah, 14 game weeks and then a break, basically because somebody gave someone a fund to give it to Qatar.
Yeah, ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And isn't it the World Cup going to be on at the same time as the Cricket World Cup?
No, the Cricket World Cup finishes and then it's a couple of weeks and then it's 4 games a day in the World Cup.
Wow.
Here is the dangerous Jameson.
Yeah, the dangerous Jameson who's coming around the wicket to Stokes. Bowls a short one first up. Thinks about pulling it, but lets it go down the leg side. And there ain't no run. It's this guy.
And that's the story of how Kyle Jameson
He's coming around the
very
wicket.
good man.
Down the track comes Stokes. Pulls it. Not got enough of it. It should get back for 3. Ajaz Patel is down at deep square leg and he's got a long way to come round. They do only decide to stick at 2.
This is the bit I don't understand, where bowlers decide to follow batsmen. So he's come down the pitch. So Jameson's followed him down the leg side, and it's like if you bowl at the stumps, he'll never get there.
No, true.
It's a fairly ugly looking shot.
Yeah, it was a fairly ugly looking shot. But he didn't get bowled, which is a bonus.
No, he didn't, which is one plus.
And he's on 26. That one he's left alone outside the off stump, and it is no run. I mean, he is a class batsman, Stokes, and he's certainly got a lot of time.
Well, he certainly got the, as you said earlier, Bear, he's certainly got the capacity to do this if he applies himself properly.
Yeah.
But will he?
Well, that's the question. He certainly, he didn't, and then he got a reprieve, and then he still didn't, and then he seemed to hold himself in for a bit. He's gone back a bit. Maybe, I suppose he's got self-belief. That one is into his hip, and he works it out to mid-on, and there is no run. What, 2.5 hours left in the day's play. Long way. England could be a long way there tonight if they're still in at the end. If these two are still in at the end tonight, England will be a fair way there. You'd imagine another 100 runs on top of this in 2.5 hours.
I suspect that's the other reason behind the wanting to be aggressive, isn't it? Because you're probably trying to eradicate the chance of the second new ball.
Well, there is that. Yeah. It's played back down the track, and there is no run.
So
it'll be very similar to England, won't it? I mean, they'll either get it just before the end. 40 overs in 2.5 hours. I mean, they should be able to do that, really. Well, yeah, it's going to be touch and go.
So yesterday, New Zealand in the last session scored 100 runs.
Yeah.
There ended up being like 30 odd overs and 100 runs. So, you know, if you consider that New Zealand should bowl at the same rate.
Exactly. Let's defend it back down the track. Stokes thinks about a run, it's not there. Jameson fields with his own bowling, throws at the batsman stumps, no trouble, and no run ends the over. And these two, you'd imagine, would score quicker than probably Mitchell and Blundell if they get going. And incidentally, they're a bowler down as well. Is Daryl Mitchell going to have to bowl? I don't know what Daryl Mitchell does bowl reasonably regularly, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a medium pacer.
And he's bowled here. He's bowled here at Lord's.
Yeah.
Before, so.
Do you do requests?
Me?
Yeah. Can you say from Adrian Lowe? Can you say hi to Conrad?
Hello, Conrad. How are you, mate?
So that's from Adrian Lowe.
I wonder where they're listening.
Are they at Lord's? They were at Lord's yesterday. I think he said he went in for the last session, 20 quid.
Fair play.
That's not a bad shout, no.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad shout today because you'd see a lot of cricket.
Yeah, totally, and possibly a victory.
You'd see nearly half the day if they bowled it all.
Well, Bolt's coming around the wicket to Rooty, trying that line, but he strays down leg side, and Root just helps it down a long leg. And does that a no ball as well? I thought I saw the umpire sticking his arm out, but I don't think it was. He was just pointing to something.
Hey ho.
McCullum's having a chat with Bairstow. Presumably they played IPL together at some point, maybe. Or was McCullum his coach in the IPL?
No, possibly.
Possibly, but he came out. He gave that up halfway through, didn't he? Bolt in, pulled short, pulled by Stokes again. I don't think he got all of it. Probably feels he missed out a bit there. Goes down to Jameson at long leg. It'll be another single. I mean, I think these two would like to put some pressure on the bowlers. But you got to wait for it to. They'll get tired, and there'll be a time. You know, in an hour and 20 minutes, they'll have all had a spell. They'll all be coming back for their third spell, 4 spells of the day. They'll all be a bit more tired. They're all feeling a bit dejected. The score would have moved on by 40 or 50 runs, and you might well be able to put them under the pump. Wait for your moment. Bolt around the wicket into Root, who defends that out to point, and there's no run. I mean, you have to say Root doesn't often get out. Touch wood, you know, when he's if he gets to the 20s. Rarely,
well, that's what you've got to hope, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
you've got to hope that Root just keeps on batting.
Yeah.
And that Stokes and folks can do enough batting around him to make it happen. Really.
Ideally, you'd like to see these two take it home. As I said, I mean,
it's a long way home.
Well, they both. I mean, it's not the fact that they both need to get a ton to get them home, even. That's the thing. There's Stokes. Bolt's bowling around the wicket to Root. He gets right behind that and defends it back to him, and there's no run. See, that was the thing about Pope, wasn't it? I mean, the ball was bowled from around the wicket like he's bowling now, and he's trying to work it into the leg side.
Yeah. And so he's playing the wrong shot.
Yes.
He's playing completely the wrong shot, and therefore he ends up completely squared up.
Exactly, and getting a slight outside edge that goes onto his off stump. You know, he needs to be playing the ball back from where it's coming from, which is a wide angle from one outside.
So, you know, the bowler's made an adjustment, so you need to make one.
Precisely. As that one's clipped into the leg side and there's no run. I've got time. Having said that,
or I assume it's not.
Having said that, I've got time for Pope.
Yeah, I have too, but not at 3.
No. But then that means dropping Bairstow, and we've still got to find a 3 or a 4. I suppose he does bat a 4 for Surrey, doesn't he?
Well, I suppose there's going to need to be a discussion in this Red Bull reset about does your best player have to bat at 4?
Well,
if by batting at 3 he would then accommodate both Pope and Brook to bat at 4 and 5.
Possibly, as he essays a drive at that one, gets a big inside half. The batter goes out to mid wicket. There's Root to end the over, and there is no run. That is the question. But then, I suppose Root has batted at 4 for so long. I mean, he had a reasonable success batting at 3, but he clearly prefers batting at 4.
I mean, do you get more from your team if you bat Root at 3, Pope at 4, Brook at 5, or do you insist that you have to play Root at 4? If you do, then presumably you have Pope or Brook at 5, in which case you need a new number 3 to come into the team.
Who isn't Bairstow?
Who isn't Bairstow? Well, Bairstow wouldn't be in my team anyway.
Good number 3s around the county circuit. Could you get Ben?
Well,
could you put Zach Crawley back at 3 and get Ben Compton to open?
Well, I think they've got to look at Compton. I think they've got to look at Haynes as well.
Well, the lights are on, and Jameson's coming in for his 11th over. He's got 3 for 26. He's bowling around the wicket to Stokes. He's coming, cramping up for room. He just defends it down at his feet, and there is no run.
He cramped him a lot.
Yeah, it's coming in a lot with the angle.
Which way's down the hill?
I think
Jameson?
I think it's coming down the hill at. I'm trying to think.
Nursery end.
He's bowling for the nursery end.
Well, because it slopes down towards the tavern, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit weird, but
It seems to be coming. It'd be fascinating if he's bowling and making it move that much up the hill.
It's he's not. It's going down the hill with it. As that is defended, and there is no run. So it's carrying on down the hill. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Jill Tom says that a lot of, well, first of all, unmatched, but then changes that to unhatched chickens are being counted by the commentary team. I feel that's not quite true. I think all we're doing is pointing out that patience is a virtue. This isn't trying to make something happen because it's end of day 4, moving into day 5. This is still just day 3.
Exactly.
Patience is still a virtue.
There's so much time left in this test as Stokes once again comes down the track, followed by Jameson. He can only cut it into the ground out to point, and there's no run.
Why are you charging Jameson?
I know.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not as if on a single occasion that he's charged him, he's
got anything on it.
Him into the crowd for 6 or something. It's not happening. It's not getting him any runs. It's just putting him at risk.
Yeah. Well, Jameson's going to continue. Stokes plays that off his hip fine down towards the tavern.
That's better.
And he'll get 1. Are they going to come back for 2? They are going to come back for 2. That's good running. Bolt throws it in.
A much more sensible shot.
Yeah. England move on to 116 for 4. We're in the 42nd over. Root's asking for more gloves. I was trying to think of Taylor's last name next door at Temple. It had gone out of my head, and Thatcher kept coming. Mark Thatcher kept coming into my head. I was like, no. Jameson around the wicket. Gets that one to go up the slope a little bit. Good line outside off stump. Well left by Stokes.
You need to talk about your visualisation skills then.
Yeah.
Mark Thatcher. What?
We should have changed at the beginning of this
famous
over.
Australian opener, Mark Thatcher.
You're supposed to be doing ball by ball, so you're going to take over from me, John, at the end of this over. Aaron's supposed to be joining us. All right, okay. I shall let him in.
You're sliding into the social seat, are you not?
Oh my word, am I?
Mr. Bear?
Oh God, I am, yeah. Left alone outside the off stump. Jameson can't believe it didn't hit the off stump, but it was a good 3 or 4 inches wide of it. It was a good leave. And there is no run, so I guess we're due a change. Al, you'll be back after this session.
I'll be back soon. Emily Elizabeth says, drinks for the mods. And you're up to date on socials.
Okie dokie. That's good to know. The fucking porn bot is still banging away, and we're still seeing it off. It must keep
It's
changing.
still trying to get rid of it.
Well, must keep changing its address because it keeps getting.
Changing its IP. Its IP.
Yeah. Why is it hassling us
Elusive
so
character.
much? I have no
Can we
idea.
do?
All right, Aaron, how are you, mate?
A little bit so-so, to be honest, lads. Obviously, this partnership absolutely huge for England, but it's not been a great afternoon, has it?
No. It's been a typically English
it's been a
afternoon.
bit from behind the sofa routine, isn't it, really?
It's the hope
Hey-ho.
that kills.
What
Most
can
certainly
we
is.
say? Jameson back on the boundary on the sweeping duties, and we're back with Mr. Bolt from the pavilion end. 2 slips the gully
Good bit of
into
fielding.
Root, who pulls this away, and it's brilliantly fielded, and there's a scramble back by Stokes as the throw comes back in.
I think it hit his bat as well, and went off
Wow.
towards long on.
Dear me. There's a lot of laughter around the place, but we could have been very undone there again. Stokesy says, "What, me? I wasn't in danger of getting run out." Well, we believe you, Ben, but lots of people that are watching wouldn't. Yeah, that was all very frenetic stuff.
It was a good shot.
It was a
from-
good pull shot. It's a good piece of fielding, and he's up very quickly, throws it back in. Oh, if it doesn't hit Stokes' bat and hits the stumps,
He'd have been in. He'd have been
that
in.
would have been tight.
But the thing is, I think, yeah, exactly, there were memories of the World Cup final there, weren't there? It's hit his bat and gone flying off
Yes.
down towards the boundary. And if it had got there, presumably again, it would have been runs.
Maybe that's what Bolt said to
I
Stokes.
think that's what- I
because
think that's what they were
certainly
having a
seem
little
to find
discussion
it
about.
both very amusing.
Yes.
But
It's been played in a good atmosphere, this game.
yeah, it has. Well, I think it's fairly difficult to fall out with the New Zealanders, isn't it? They just seem to be good blokes, generally speaking. Here's Bolt again into Root, who jabs down on that and pushes it out on the onside. Bolt sort of skips across the pitch in order to field on his follow through. No run.
There's a lot of chat between Bolt and Southey.
Yes. Another little scheme being brewed and plotted. Bolt picks the ball up again and goes to work with a polishing routine. Tosses from hand to hand. Back at the top of his run. Back in. Bowls, and this is played off his legs by Root out to the man on the mid-wicket fence. That's Patel. Throws the ball back in. It's a single. 17 for 4.
Now, do you think it's a lot easier for a bowler to come out of the IPL and play longer form cricket than a batsman?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I think, yeah, probably. I think
But
it's a lot easier, but
It does feel that way, doesn't it? You're not having
Yeah.
to worry about getting hit for, as we just saw there, his average in the IPL was 7.94 and over. Must be quite a thrill not to, have to deal with that.
Here's Bolt again into Stokes, and this one moves away, but it's wide enough, and Stokes, having taken a pace forward, just lets it go through. Wanders down, does a little bit of gardening on the Lord's wicket. Yeah, lights are fully on now, aren't they? So
Yeah. Although that cloud does seem to be now passing through, it's certainly brighter. It was cloudy down here about half an hour ago, and now the blue skies are sort of coming through. Fluffy clouds up there.
trouble is, I think once you put them on, you've got to leave them on. So
Yeah.
Stokes drives this one up to mid-off, and there's no run.
But presumably they have much less of an effect when it's bright sunlight's out. You don't notice them, presumably.
Well, hopefully not. So we're seeing some imagery of where the seamers have been bowling since tea, and there seems to have been very little that's been full. A lot of it is sort of length, which I suppose is fair enough. You're trying to hit the top of the off stump. Here's Bolt again. He's in, and this is played up to mid-on this time by Stokes, but again, there's no run.
That was a good
It's
ball
the end
by
of the
Bolt.
over, 117 to 4.
That jagged back. Away,
People
away,
saying
away.
to us on
Oh God, yeah, it's
social
me,
media.
isn't it? Oh look, Frank Rockefeller has given us a 50 quid tip on YouTube. Thank you very much. $50. He says his money's on England. Well, Frank, I'm hoping, but I don't know if, like me, you've watched a lot of England over the last 2 years. We don't have a very good record. 17-1 in the last 2 years in the negative column. Let's go on.
Blimey, he's given us $50 and his money's on England.
Yeah. I don't know where we were on Twitter, but I'll start with Nestlers. He says, I need some advice. He's ridden myself into the ground 60 miles around the Essex countryside and thinking about ordering pizza. I'm too tired to cook anything. Should I? Oh, well.
Here is Jameson, and this is outside off stump, left by Root. It goes through very low to Blundell, no run.
I would suggest, Nestlers, that as supreme athlete as you are, you know, you burn so many calories that possibly a pizza will be okay. You know, supreme athletes are allowed to eat a bit of junk because, you know, you burn so many calories.
I think that's got to be a tweet that's basically asking permission to do what you really want to do, isn't it?
Yes,
You give it.
knowing that you
So
shouldn't.
That's all good.
We had pizza the other day. In fact, I think we've had takeout 4 days in a row now, which is really
Ouch.
fucking lazy and expensive.
Here is Carl Jameson. He's in, and this is again outside off stump, and it's left alone by Root. Goes through to Blundell, no run.
Considering we're in a cost of living crisis, I really shouldn't be eating out every day, but
Yes. Yes, cost of living crisis, £160 for a ticket at Lord's.
yes.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get the memo and read the route. 117 for 4. Root waits again. Jameson comes in and bowls, and this is right behind this one, which is on the line of off stump. Just pushes it back along the other side of the pitch. No run.
They're finding quite tight at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, Jameson seems to have come back on and got right back into that groove again, doesn't he? Of just not giving them anything. But this is good. I mean, this is proper Test cricket. This is, we're not going to give you anything easy, and England have got to play. We're not going to give you a wicket. Here's Jameson. He's in, and Root pulls this one from outside off stump, and it flies away to the mid-wicket boundary for one of these.
That's a good shot. You have to say there is some parallel with this and when Mitchell and Blundell were batting yesterday. You know,
Yeah.
when the ball's harder and it gets up that little bit higher and it's harder to play that shot, it comes through that little bit quicker. It seems that that's reasonably short, but it's just sat up and said, "Hit me," hasn't it? Really?
He hasn't actually even got all of that.
No.
It's almost off the sort of bottom half of the bat and into the ground, and gone a bit squarer than I thought. We've gone for 4. Here's Jameson again, and this is
Shots.
punched away off his pads by Root. He's got the fielder chasing out towards mid-wicket, and he throws it back in, and they'll settle for 2.
Could have got 3 there, you'd have thought.
I think the previous shot, the thing about it was that Root picked it up so early.
Yeah,
That's the thing. He picked
that's
it
what
up
I
so
mean.
early and he was on
Exactly.
it.
The ball's softer, so it just comes off that little bit slower. And as you say, the pitch isn't particularly quick, and it's just sitting up and says, "Hit me." Starts
Maybe that
getting.
negates Jameson's height a little bit, which it wasn't doing earlier. Here he is again anyway, he's in, and this is well wide of the off stump, and Root kind of crouches and just lets it go. And no run, 123 for 4 at the end of the over.
O'Neill Harris says it's been played in a good atmosphere because Australia is not playing. Warren is having a good time. He's managed to find the stream for the England game. I have to give you the squad. I don't know who's in goal because that's covered by his iPad. Maguire, Cody Walker, Justin Rice, Bellingham, Alexander-Arnold in the midfield. Interesting. Oh, no, I suppose he's on the either side of a back three. Mount, Kane and Bowen are up front. What time's kick-off in that?
5 o'clock.
So he's watching that and he's got us in his ear hole.
Multitasking and all that. Nice to see Bellingham start.
Yeah.
He is a player.
He's still playing in Germany, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a player. Good grief. Here's Bolt in bowls to Stokes, who plays that out on the onside. Short mid wicket comes into field, no run.
123, nearly halfway there, aren't we?
Oh, don't say that, Bear. Do not say that.
54 to win.
Don't give us hope.
Yeah, after
Yeah, it's
277.
the hope that kills you.
Yeah. 139, we're halfway there.
Here's Bolt again into Stokes, who again pushes this up to short mid on, no run. We see we've got what this, including this one. You've got 36 overs to the second you ball down.
Yeah,
36 overs of soft ball.
yeah. An average,
So
if you can go at 3 and over, it's nearly 100
that would
runs.
get you to
doesn't it?
230. So
Yeah.
you'd be what 45 runs short
Yeah.
at that stage. So here's Bolt in. Oh, that struck Stokes on the pad. It's outside the line, so there's no appeal because it was sliding down, but gave him a little bit of hurry up.
Yeah. It's the first time he's missed one for a while. Genuinely good ball.
Yeah, a little bit more zip in that one from Bolt, I think.
Interesting. Ajaz Patel seems to be warming up in the background. Will they try a little bit of Daryl Mitchell? Well, they're going to go. I suppose Ajaz Patel is a bowler in the side. They probably feel they might have to go to him first.
Here's Bolt, and this is left alone by Stokes through to Blundell. Well, I mean, if you've got a spinner in your side, then who doesn't particularly bat, if you're not going to bowl him, then it's a bit of a waste of time having him, isn't it? Really. But trouble is that so often that's the spinner's lot, isn't it? That they're the bowler of last resort.
Which should be changed in my view as a spin bowler. I think
yeah, of
spinners
course.
deserve a lot more credit.
Of course, it
Absolutely.
should.
Well,
I agree entirely. Here's Bolt again, and this is pulled round by Stokes to the man on the square leg fence. Throws it back in. Another run to the total. 124 for 4. Takes Stokes at 30.
I mean, it depends a lot on the wicket, though, Aaron. You know, I mean, and how many overs have been bowled. If you've got a newish, hardish ball, you want to use your pace bowlers as much as possible, really. And as the game drifts, a decent spinner is going to block up one end in a first innings. I mean, in England, spinners aren't generally that successful, but certainly,
Well, particularly at Lords,
yeah.
where it doesn't seem to offer them a great deal. But I mean, the ball's soft.
Yeah,
You've got to rely on him to block an end up, haven't you?
precisely. Which you know, Stokes took a liking to him when he first came on, and wasn't prepared to let him settle. And that, you know, that is, and that should be that is a genuine calculated plan. They consider.
It's his outside off stump and through to the keeper.
Because if you don't have Colin de Grant as your fourth bowler, and if you're going to get Ajaz Patel on, if you can hit him out of the attack, the other bowlers are going to have to bowl. Then they're going to get more tired, more ragged, hopefully offer you more bad balls that you can hit runs on.
Yeah. The only thing is, it obviously England have got to factor into that they're still 150 runs short, and they've got a longer tail. So can they afford to go after him in that fashion?
Yeah, you've got to back yourself. I can't imagine for Ben Stokes, there's not a lot of turn. If he's going to bowl it out of the off stump, over the wicket to him, He's going to be hanging up outside his off stump with a tiny little bit of turn that's going to come in. Nothing that should, bounce unexpectedly. And gentle turn, he's just playing with a spin. Someone like Ben Stokes loves that. And if you toss it up too hard, he'll get battered as well. And he hits it a long way. Pickford in the net, says Warren. Jeff Perkins says, thought Bear was going to say that as a supreme athlete, Nestle Boy was allowed a supreme pizza. Yeah, you're allowed a supreme pizza. Although supreme pizza is nasty. Alex Cottrell in Croatia, Tony sends us. He's playing cricket on a beach. And he's got a few locals involved. And he doesn't know how to explain the forward defensive to them. And he wants some advice from the listeners.
Clearly, they've only been watching white ball cricket.
Yeah. Clear the front leg and just heave.
Clear the front leg, have a good swing. If you hit it, it goes a long way. Yeah. This is true. This is the problem.
Well, yeah. As we look at highlights of Daryl Mitchell.
Yes, we look at highlights of Daryl Mitchell reaching his 100 earlier on today. Fortunately for England, he didn't go much further than that. But we're back live now, and Jameson's into Stokes, who plays that out on the onside. No run.
Yeah, and I think New Zealand would have think they missed a trick there as well, wouldn't they? I mean, they were so far ahead, those two settled. They were probably looking at 350.
Yeah, which would have batted England right out of the game.
Exactly.
So.
England at least gave themselves a chance, came back well.
Yeah, so one of those inspirational broad moments.
Yeah, plus a bit of
Doesn't happen
doziness.
every so often.
And some doziness from Colin de Grandon.
Here's Jameson, it's in, and Stokes gets everything behind that and plays it out on the offside. Whenever I see a full defensive like that, it always reminds me of the great John Arlott once commentating at the World Cup, where in his sardonic way he said, Secunda back comes in from the football stand end, rolls to elbow, and he covers up everything in his bowl. Just with absolutely no change of intonation whatsoever.
Covers up everything in his bold.
It was just like classic. It's like, John Arlott, how can you say that? Here's Jameson, he's in, and Stokes
Finally!
backs away to the leg side and slaps it through cover point for 4.
Finally got hold of one.
It's an extraordinary shot.
He's been trying that for about 15 overs.
He fully has, yeah.
There was quite a lot of premeditation about that. I think he decided wherever that was, he was going to slap it. But yeah, I'm not sure that fills me with great glee, but it got the right result and went for 4.
Well, if he starts connecting with them, it'll at least make them think it'll move the score along.
Yeah. Oh, this is a wild swing.
And that's the problem right there.
Indeed.
I thought
That was just ugly. He just literally got down on one knee as if to say, I'm going to deposit you back over your head. The only problem was he missed the ball.
he did. I thought he had got an edge to it as well, and I think Jameson thought he had as well.
Thought he had as well.
Goodness me, that is close.
It actually swung in a fraction.
He held the pose nicely, though, Stokesy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Watching it imaginarily racing to the boundary like a
As
tracer
if to
bullet.
say, that should have disappeared. But
Yes.
of course, it didn't. Yeah, it was almost like he played the golf swing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Waiting for it to hit the green. Here's Jameson again, and this time he decides he's not going to have a swing at that one, and he just lifts the bat high above his head, and there's no run. Yeah, well, it's never dull watching Ben.
No.
But it is quite frightening today, I think.
It's been an interesting innings, hasn't it? He's not quite looked at his imperious best, but he's played some lovely shots. The shot against Ajaz Patel, that shot right there, but there does seem to be that kind of inconsistency about his shot selection today, doesn't there?
Very
Yes,
skittish.
indeed. Here is Jameson again.
Oh, horrible.
This is horrible. That's a horrible ball. And it's gone for wides. It's actually been signalled wides.
And 5 of them.
And 5 of them. I thought originally Stokes might have actually got something on that and he kind of...
3, 4.
I did as well, but I think it might have gone out of footholes.
Yes, I think we'll find it did when we look at the replay. I mean, it's miles wide.
Goodness me.
Oh my goodness! I think that would have been a wide in a one-day game.
Oh yeah, definitely a wide in one game.
Even if it had been bowled to the opposite-handed batsman, you know. Yeah, it's completely missed the return crease. Dear me, that's dreadful. Oh, that one's much better though. And Stokes just about gets some bat on that before it cannons into his pad, and therefore there's no run.
And that ends the 46th over. I'll get to some tweets in. We'll have one more over in this configuration, and we'll have a change. Nesta says he's gone for the veggie sizzler with an extra topping of pepperoni. Well, yeah, you know, what are you trying to do? You're saying you're a veggie and then you're adding pepperoni. I don't feel like a supreme athlete. I feel like a broken man. Well, that's a good effort, 60 kilometres or 60 miles. Leah says, there he is again. Our very own Grigory Yefimовich Rasputin. That's you.
That's me,
I
clearly.
think, for me you look like Jesus, but for Leah you're Rasputin. Old Fart at Play says, do the England bowling attack.
Here's Bolt into Root, who lets it go, and it goes through to Blundell. No run.
Do the England bowling attack get told to ease up in the nets so that the batsman can get a bit more time at the crease?
Well, you wouldn't have thought that looking at the footage the other day where Root edged, I think it was Potts to behind him, didn't he, and called himself a tit, I think, on audio. Oh, Joe, you tit, I think was his expression. Here's Bolt into Root. Oh, and that's an awful shot. That's just an awful shot from Root.
Yeah, he fenced at that.
And he's very annoyed with himself and swings the bat in annoyance. But that was a real get-out shot, that.
Yeah.
It's quite wide. It's lifting a bit. He just waves at it. He's very lucky he didn't nick that.
Yeah. It was too high, too close to be playing that shot.
And Mitchell can't believe he didn't nick it. There's a look of absolute disbelief on his face at first slip.
Well, you've got to have a bit of luck, haven't you?
Bolt's pretty frustrated as well.
Yeah, there was an old fuck in there somewhere.
There was, yes, absolutely, yes. If that had been, if he'd been mic'd up, then people would have been saying, "We apologise for any bad language you might have heard." Like anyone can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's my fault that they decided to say that. But hey. Mitchell claps from his position at slip. Root settles in again as Bolt comes in, and this is down the leg side and flicked at by Root. It's not gathered cleanly by Blundell, and they run through for a bye.
Yeah, he didn't get anything on it.
The umpire says it missed everything.
Yeah, it did.
But,
it often looks like it's close to the bat, but hardly ever.
it wasn't a very good piece of cricket altogether, that really.
It swung too much, didn't it?
Swung too much. Root didn't make the most of it. Blundell didn't field it properly. Other than that, it was all good.
I think the Kiwis are starting to feel it a little bit here now, aren't they? You know.
Bolt looks a little frustrated.
Yeah.
I think you would say. Here he is again. Ooh. I thought for a minute Stokes was going to play and miss at that. He was a bit sort of indecisive, but he got the bat on it.
I reckon
on
you've
the
got
offside, no run.
You've got one more good spell out of all the bowlers here, and then after that they're going to get tired.
Yeah.
So I reckon these two got holding for about what probably turn out to be about another hour and 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
15, 16 overs.
Because you're going to get another Southey blast in a minute, aren't you? And
but that'll be the lot, because then they'll be in the third spells after tea, and they've already rolled two before, you know. So
yeah. It's a patience game.
Yep.
Here's Bolt, and this is down the leg side, flicked around the corner, down to long leg by Stokes, and they go through for a single. It's 135 for 4. And I think we're having a switcheroo.
We are having a little switcheroo.
Who's coming in?
Al, Messers and Steve is going to take over from me in the studio. And I will see you for the overspill later today.
And I will see you another time.
Good to see you, John. That was fabulous stuff.
Cheers, Alan. Cheers, Messers.
Hello,
Bye.
Al. Hey, John. Goodbye, John. Hey, Al. So, what's your prognosis?
I believe there's a song by Bon Jovi. We're halfway there, living on a prayer. I think it's. There have been such flashes of wanting to get it all done instantly that it worries me. But, it's all been close calls and near misses and stuff like that. But the problem is there's no margin for error for these pairs. There's nothing really behind. Jameson in. Outside the off stump, lifting up a good length, and Stokes leaves it alone. All right, Steve.
Hello, chaps. How you doing?
Excellent.
Must be late for you, isn't it, Messrs?
Yeah, it's midnight.
Blimey.
It's gone past late. It's officially early.
I don't usually go to bed before 3 a.m. at the earliest. And a lot of that has to do with cricket, to be honest, because that's, when it's on.
That's when the rest of the world is playing it, yeah.
Same way with baseball and basketball and like, as Jameson is in, Stokes backs away. Jameson follows him again, which allows Stokes to be able to, from outside leg stump, to manoeuvre a single past gully.
They showed a WinViz prediction about an hour ago. 33% England and 67% New Zealand. So.
Yeah, well, New Zealand are $1.75 on the sports bet bookie and $2.08 for England.
Yeah.
I'd have them level,
close,
to be honest.
yeah, it's getting close, isn't it? Closer than WinViz.
I think there's a little bit of understanding the relative backgrounds of the sides involved in that pricing a little bit.
Yeah, well, one wicket would make a huge difference, wouldn't it?
That becomes the thing.
It is just the one wicket.
And that no ball.
Yeah.
Indeed. Jameson into Root this time. Root gets up on his toes, but can't beat the point. And there's no run.
De Gondro has quite a big influence on this game so far, doesn't he?
Certainly has, and the biggest influence might be his ankle injury.
Yeah.
Because
it's a heel, apparently.
Well, with three seamers and Patel, then Williamson may well be one bowler light.
Yeah. And I think Bear's,
Jameson aborts.
I think Bear's right. These bowlers are going to start getting tired.
Do you think Jameson ever gets tired though? Maybe his oil needs changing every once in a while.
He's a unit though, isn't he? My God.
Yeah. It's interesting. He's very much a test player. He doesn't seem to have had much impact at the white ball level, particularly T20, does he?
Sure. That's fended at by Root.